Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Critical steps to raise your rates without losing clients. What I know about accounting professionals is you are deeply committed to making a difference for your clients. However, there are so many times that I have conversations with accounting professionals realizing that you actually undervalue your services and don't understand how to necessarily communicate your value. As a result of that, you end up working many, many hours, very hard for not enough income. If you're an accounting professional who feels like you are working too many hours, not making as much money as you would like to, you haven't hit your earning income yet, but you realize that to earn more, you have to work more, then you are absolutely in the right place. If you find that you're ready to move away from the compliance piece by focusing more on the advisory, the consultative piece, I'm going to show you how to be able to move into that position as well. And if you're just tired of negotiating your rates, having clients say, how come you charge that much? Not really understanding the value that you bring to the table, you are absolutely in the right place. Steve, I would love for you to take a moment to introduce yourself.
Absolutely, Lauren, I would love to. So my name's Steve Fogelman, and as you can hear by the last name, Lauren and I have been married for actually 33 years. We just celebrated an anniversary, and we've been working together for a long time. And I am a therapist turned business coach, and I'm also the CSO, which is a Chief Support Officer for our business. And basically, I'm going to be facilitating the chat and also asking some questions. Thanks, Lauren.
Excellent. Happy to have you really partnering with me on this. A little bit about me is I'm a sports psychologist turned business coach. What I found is by having two businesses, I was just being stretched much too thin. I was wearing all the hats in both my businesses. Also, we had younger children at home at the time. Plus, there were things I wanted to do that had nothing to do with my business or earning money. Because of that, I was well on my way to burning out. I realized that I just can't keep this up at this pace for the long run. It wasn't something that I can sustain. Because of that, I decided to put the sports psychology on the back burner and really embrace working with entrepreneurs, accounting professionals on being able to help you earn more money, have a business that supports your lifestyle instead of one that ends up draining the life out of you. As you can see, I have been listed as one of the top 22 business coaches by HubSpot from 2018 to 2020. And I am the author of an Amazon #1 bestseller, The Success Solution. What I have seen for myself, as well as so many of my clients, is we received that skill set that we needed to make a difference for our clients from our education. We've learned the steps, the processes, the systems. But what I also found from my education, as well as the one of so many accounting professionals, is that we were trained to work for somebody else as an employee. We weren't necessarily given the tools and the skill sets to be a business owner, a firm owner, having your own agency. Because of that, what I found for myself is I had to really take a deep dive into learning those particular things in order to have a profitable business. There were three things that I really have committed to, continued to invest time, money, and resources into. One is networking, how to be able to network when it wasn't something that was naturally taught to me, and I tend to be more of an introvert than an extrovert. The second thing was how to price my services when I didn't want to charge for the hour. That wasn't a model that I grew up with, and I didn't feel that charging by the hour, the session, the project was the best way to be able to earn money, and I had to figure out how to separate my fees from time. And then number three is how to enroll new clients through consultations when I just didn't like the sales part and nobody taught me anything about selling. In fact, I feel that the sales part was very, very painful. It was very uncomfortable for me. I love the relationship building, but that close just wasn't right for me. And I needed to figure out how to be able to do that. Because of that, I have, like I said, invested time, money, and effort into figuring how to network, how to separate my fees from services, from my time, and also how to have what I call a value conversation, because I don't really like the selling part of it. And to be honest with you, I don't know anybody that really wants to be sold to either. Therefore, I really want to have what's called a value conversation. I'll go into that a little bit during the presentation, but just to let you know, you can enroll new clients who absolutely value you without having to feel like you're selling anybody. What we're going to cover today is the #1 pricing solution, the formula, and how to be able to convert existing clients. During the short time that we have together, I will give you as much as I possibly can. And if you're interested in wanting to know how to be able to talk further, be able to apply this to your practice, I'll give you a resource on how to be able to do that as well.
So Lauren, what are the steps for accounting professionals to increase their income without working additional hours like you talked about?
Well, I've come up with what I call the ultimate pricing blueprint. What we're talking about today comes right out of that blueprint. There's 5 steps, as you can see, to my blueprint. If you can figure this out on your own, you are well on your way to be able to earn more money without having to work additional hours. The very first thing you want to do is understand who your ideal client is, because it's not everybody that has skin and can breathe. There are certain people that you work with better than others. You want to really be selective and get to a point where you can cherry pick your clients. The second thing that I do with my clients is help them define their signature system, because every single accounting professional that I work with has some type of system where they go from a client first meeting them to that end result of whatever it is that that client wants to achieve. If you can actually communicate the different steps that you take your client through, then they see the value. You're able to use it in your marketing. It starts to give you authority or expert status, because now a potential client realizes that, oh, you have a process or a system. If we do this, this, then they're going to be able to achieve that result that they want and that they're hiring you for. Number 3 is packaging your services, because when you bundle the different things that you do together, whether it's the product, the features, or the steps, then you're able to start to separate your fees and time. Number 4 goes into value pricing. That is where you're able to double your income working half the time. And sometimes you can even do more than double. You can triple it or quadruple it if you really get the value pricing dialed in. And then number 5 is strategy and marketing. What is the way to be able to attract clients to you? Because you don't want to be chasing them. That's not fun or enjoyable. So how do you attract them to you? And then once they come to you, how do you have that value conversation in order for them to recognize that you have the solution to what they have been seeking? You can help them achieve that result. And they just naturally ask, how do we get started? No selling involved. Anyway, that is the 5 steps to the ultimate pricing blueprint. As I said, we're going deeply into the value pricing step today.
So Lauren, let's get started. I'm really excited to hear about the #1 pricing solution, but I think we're going to also do a chat question. So if you would please put your answers in the chat. What we'd like to do is rate your pricing confidence. You're highly satisfied with your rates, you're afraid to raise your rates, or you're paid a little and you work a lot. So please go ahead and answer and put them into the chat, and then we'll give you the results.
I'm going to go ahead and move forward as people are starting to do that, Steve, because we have so much to share.
I know we do. So tell us about 75 cents for a dollar. I'm really fascinated by what that's going to lead to.
What I've seen from the research that I've done preparing for this presentation is that even though men and women bring equal skill sets to the job, for every dollar that a man earns, a woman earns 75 cents.
Hmm.
I feel that women ought to be paid equally for bringing equal value to the table. And really, I think that we have the potential to even surpass that and be able to out-earn men. Some women are starting to do that, but we need to get more of us just earning more because we contribute so much. And actually, when we bring our way of doing business to the table, there's proof that shows that firms earn more money when they have a woman at the table, claiming that seat at the table, having the corner suite, being on a team for somebody, than when it's just all men. The diversity makes a difference, and our perspective brings added value to the table, and we ought to be earning dollar for dollar, if not even more than that. So we've come a long ways to be able to close the gap, and there's still room for improvement.
So why shift away from the billable hour?
Well, so often we start out with our own business charging by the hour because that's how we were paid when we were employees. And most of us started as employees. You either earned an hourly rate or maybe you got a salary, but somehow your income was always tied to your time. When we go into our own business, we just think that that's how you ought to do pricing because it was what was shown to us. But what I have found is that your time is not your highest value. Your clients, they're actually not hiring you for how much time it's going to take. And when you actually connect your fees to time, you're actually earning less than when you lead with your highest value. And your highest value is what you know. It's right up here in your head. It's your knowledge, your insights, your wisdoms. It's your unique perspective of how to achieve result. That is what your clients are hiring you for. It's not about how much time it's going to take. In fact, and I'm not going to get into this too much, but think about it. If you need a rush job or if you need docs sent somewhere tomorrow, overnight, you're going to pay 4 to 5 times more for overnight delivery than you will for it going maybe ground UPS or postal service. That applies to your business also. Your clients actually want to get the results faster. They don't want it to be a long, drawn-out process.
So value is really sometimes really difficult to describe, especially when it comes to pricing. How do you explain the relationship between value and price? And I love the Tesla, by the way.
Well, think about how you get from your home to a meeting. What kind of car are you driving? What were some of the things that you considered when you bought your vehicle? Now, if we all just wanted the basics, we would all be driving a Geo Metro. But when I go on the freeway, I see a wide variety of vehicles. I don't see all Geo Metros. The Geo Metros are for the people that want the very basics. Maybe they're extremely economy minded and they are not looking for a lot of comfort. They just want to have a safe ride from their house to get to that meeting. They want the bare basics. Now, the majority of drivers actually drive some type of mid-sized car. Let's go with a Volvo. If you drive a Volvo, it means that you want a certain type of experience. You want some of the luxury features. However, it also shows that you probably have a family and you value safety first because you might be a good driver, but everybody else on the road, not very predictable. You want to make sure that your family is as safe as possible. And then the third one is the Tesla. The Tesla is a luxury car. When somebody drives by you with a Tesla on the road, it just stands out. It has some unique features to it because that there is a status that that driver has that they want you to know that they've achieved a certain status in their life or professionally when they're driving by you. Plus, they want a certain type of experience and they might be environmentally aware and concerned about the environment. But I know some Tesla owners that do it more for the status. The environmental part is secondary. And once again, think about you. When you're looking at buying a car, were you looking for the very basics, the Geo Metro, maybe even had crank up windows? Were you looking for more that mid-sized car, the Volvo, which most of us fall into that particular category of mid-sized cars? Or were you looking for the luxury car, such as the Tesla? Because that, realize that your clients coming to you might fall into one of those three categories also. Therefore, you don't want it to be one size fits all. You want to have options for the three different types of clients that might be coming to you. The other thing I just want to say is that if you don't like tracking your time, and I don't know too many accounting professionals that actually geek out on tracking their time, invoicing, and then making sure that they're getting paid at the end of the month. If you don't really like that part, then moving in this direction of offering bundles, similar, or offering options like the Metro, the Volvo, and the Tesla is something that is going to be very, very appealing for you, because once you get packages together, you don't have to track your time any longer unless that's important to you. But it's not where you had to do invoicing or T-sheets or timesheets for your clients. One of the things to think about when it comes to value pricing is you might not know what it means or how to really get started. The main thing to consider, and this is really important here, it's key about starting to separate your fees and time. The client needs to believe that what they have to gain from hiring you and using your service is greater than the fees that they're paying you. I'm going to go ahead and just say it one more time.
Yeah, please do.
The client needs to believe that what they have to gain from hiring you is going to be greater than the fees that they're paying you for your services. That's how you start to separate your fees and time and focus on value instead. When I first started working with Devin, she has a bookkeeping service as well as she's a licensed practicing attorney. Devin didn't value her services very much. She didn't value herself. Talking about the money part was very uncomfortable. She needed to bring in a certain amount of money. She was afraid of raising her rates because if she raised them too high, she might lose clients and then she wouldn't bring in the amount of money that she needs each month. Because of that, she was giving away so much for free because she didn't know how to charge for it, or she didn't recognize its value. When we first started working together, we started to figure out who her ideal client was, how to be able to bundle her services together and offer packages, which I'll go into in the next section. We also then went ahead and rolled up our sleeves and value priced her services to separate her fees and time, and how to have that value or enrolling conversation in order for her to be able to communicate her value, as opposed to a client being more concerned about how much time it would take her to get the job done. By doing that, she was able to increase her rates nearly fivefold. Not only did she apply this work to her accounting practice, but she also took that and applied it to her law practice as well. Because that she's been able to actually work less hours, make as much money, make more money than when she first started working with me. And when we first started working together, one of her milestones for success was being able to turn her part-time assistant into a full-time assistant. Well, she just did that as of September. Her part-time assistant is now working for her full-time. She is thrilled because she's been able to get even more stuff off of her plate and delegate it to her assistant now. And that is what's possible for you when you take the steps that I showed you in the Ultimate Pricing Blueprint and put them into play, is you're able to achieve the things that you want to advance your business at a faster rate without working additional hours. And because of that, you're also increasing your earning potential.
So let's look at the formula, Lauren. And actually, before we do that, we have another question for the chat. So if you would please, once again, put your answers into the chat. How do you charge your clients? Do you charge an hourly rate? Do you charge a flat fee? Or do you charge value pricing? So once again, please go ahead and put your answers into the chat. And Lauren, I know that accounting professionals are really, really hard workers, and many of them offer an hourly rate. Let's talk about the pricing.
Well, once again, as I said, I did a lot of research for this presentation because I really wanted to make sure that I didn't just give you the strategy, the tactical steps, but I wanted to give you some of the research behind it and why it is in your best interest, as well as your client's best interest, to move in this direction of separating your fees from time. One of the things to think about is up to 57% of accounting professionals undercharge for their services. It goes back to the fact that they're still using the billable hour. Maybe they're doing fixed rates where it's a combination of time, and then they're also bringing in their costs as well when they're considering their pricing. But when you look at it from either of those ways, having a fixed fee or a billable hour, you are going to be leaving money on the table, because there's going to be some things you don't know how to charge for. There's going to be some work that you do for free without charging, because you don't want your clients to feel that you're nickel and diming them when you're putting it on your invoice and there's this low cost item there. And as a result of that, you just have to work more hours in order to make more money, which means that your business is not quite as profitable as it could be.
So this is my favorite slide, which is the personal ATM machine. And value pricing can really be confusing. What things do you need to consider when value pricing your services?
Well, my agenda, and yes, I have an agenda, I'll just out myself right there, is that I want to help you turn your business into your personal ATM machine. When we're thinking about how to price your services, and we're thinking about value, a lot of times we're looking at it from our perspective as the business owner, because that we believe that our clients are price sensitive. Now, if you are price competitive, then you might be working with a lot of price sensitive clients, but they might not be your ideal client. Your client is considering 3 different things. They're looking at quality, service, and cost. Those are the 3 criteria that they're considering when they're looking at hiring someone, whether it's you or somebody else. Now, price sensitive clients, they're going to make the price the #1 factor. They're the ones that are immediately ask you, what's your hourly rate? They are insisting on knowing your hourly rate before they move forward. They might be telling you that their books, their needs are basic, simple, and easy. I'll just let you know that when you hear the words basic, simple, and easy, it means that they are price sensitive and they want the cheapest price possible. Next time you're talking to someone and they say those words, just see if it's code for cheap. Now, your ideal client is going to consider quality, service, and cost, but they're going to look at quality and service before cost. Once again, think about the cause. If everybody put cost first, then everybody would be driving a Geo Metro. But was that true for you? Now, it might be a consideration, but it might not be the primary one. Quality is about the experience. What does it feel like when you are driving a car that fits you well? What is the client experience when someone is working with you? Are you responsive? Are you teaching them how to be able to understand the numbers that are going on in their business in order for them to be more profitable? Or are you showing them really how to be able to advance their business because you're bringing things to the table that they're not even aware of that would really help them be more profitable or plug up some money leaks? What is the quality of the client relationship like when somebody's working with you? That's the first thing that they're considering. The other thing that's equally important is they have to trust you. They have to trust you. They have to trust your business. That means that they need to believe that you can deliver on your promise. You know how to be able to achieve that end result that they're hiring you for. You have the resources, maybe have the software and the apps. You have the skill set to be able to deliver on that promise. When you combine those 2 things, the client relationship, that experience of working with you, and that they trust you to deliver on your promise, those 2 things are going to be more important to an ideal client than cost is. When we got that formula dialed in, then your business becomes your personal ATM machine.
And Lauren, I know that some accounting professionals really find it hard to communicate their value. How can you teach them to do that?
Well, this is part of the value conversation that I spoke about when I was first starting the presentation. Is you don't want to be salesy. Let's just go there. What you want to do is have a conversation that really focuses on the client's needs as opposed to your needs. Think about it. When you're first meeting with a client, you might be asking them things about accounts. You might be asking them about previous tax years. You might be asking them the details that you need in order to be able to help them. But that's not what's in the best interest of your client and what they want to be talking about. They want to be talking about these two things, their challenges, and what are the headaches? What are they tolerating? What is keeping them from advancing their business forward? They want to hear from you that you have the solutions to take away those things that are headaches for them, so that they no longer have to tolerate these issues, so that they can then advance their business. When you find out what their challenges are and you pair their challenges with your solutions, then they see the value of working with you. And that is how you communicate value. You want to know their challenges. You want to show them that you have the solutions. This is where you're connecting the dots of their challenges to your services. And then that equals value in the mind of an ideal client.
Now, Lauren, when accounting professionals offer packages like we're showing here on the slide, they earn more money. How do the packages work?
Well, this is where you get to separate your fees from time, and you get to be paid for those things that you didn't know how to charge for. You were just writing off, or you did behind the scenes. They didn't even know that you were doing this for them. When we get to do this, we're creating bundles. What I teach my clients is to have 3 different bundles. You want to have a diamond package, a gold package, and a silver package. This goes to the car analogy that I started off with once again. It's a different way of considering this and how you bring this into your business. This is where the diamond package is for those Tesla drivers that really want the concierge services. Maybe they have a more complex business than most of your other clients do. They want some exceptions from you, or more access to you, or maybe a faster response time. Those are your diamond clients. They just don't do VIP, and they fly first class when they're traveling. Now, the gold package is for most of those clients. Those are the Volvo, the mid-sized clients, where this is where the majority of your clients fall, is into this gold package. They are getting the things that they need to really make good to solid decisions in their business. And maybe they're getting a little bit more as well, because you might be bringing some ideas to the table. You might be teaching them some things, making them aware of things that they wouldn't have thought about on their own, to really ante up their business acumen and be able to make their business more profitable. Now, there's also the silver package, Geo Metro. This is the very basics that a client needs to be able to work with you. This could be for a startup business. It could be for someone that has maybe a solo business. They're the only ones. They don't have any employees in their operations. They don't need all the extra features of the gold or the diamond. However, they see the value of working with you and absolutely value what you bring to the table. And because of that, we want to have a package that fits those business models as well.
So I love the packages, Lauren, and a lot of what you're sharing is really about the mindset about pricing and buying decisions. And I know that from our work with accounting firms and professionals, many of them want to earn more, but are really unsure how to start. What do you recommend to start separating your fees from time and help you to transition to value pricing?
Well, one of the resources that I have, which I'll share in a moment, shows you how to start to put those 3 packages together, and then how to go into the value pricing part of it. Because of that, I'm not going to spend too much time here, but I'm going to give you enough to get started. And then the resource, which will show you in just a moment how to get, really gives you the step-by-step process on how to get this dialed in and move in that direction if that's what interests you. But what I want to say is when you're first starting out in value pricing, and this isn't the final place, but this is what's going to get you started, is you want to look at when you're going to price someone's services with you, you want to come up with your good, better, and best rate. Think about if you were to give someone that fixed price to work with you for the next month or on a project, what would that be? And the good price is going to be 1.5 times more than that. That starts to move you away from trading dollars for hours and connecting your fees to time. Go ahead and charge 1.5 times what you would normally charge to start to see that clients, when they see the value of what you have to offer, you're bundling things together, then they are absolutely willing to go ahead and pay more because they know that you're aware of their problems and that you know how to fix those. Now, once you start doing that good price and you see that people are willing to go ahead and pay that 1.5 times, then challenge yourself, stretch yourself, and now do your better price, which would be 2 times that rate. Now you're earning double without any additional time spent working. Go ahead and stretch yourself to that 2 times rate after you've been able to see that people are going for the good and want you to then move into the better. And then the best rate is starting to triple what you normally would have been doing. This is where you've really got to dial it in. You can show the value of what it is that you have to offer to new clients. They are recognizing it because you're communicating your value so well to them. They are happy to pay that best rate because they realize from that value conversation you're having with them that they have more to gain from working with you than what they're going to be paying you, even though it's 3 times what you would have originally been charging them before you started moving in this direction. So that's what you want is your good, better, and best rate. And I'm going to let you know, this is maybe where it is from 0 to 5 right now, where your current rates would be here, 5 would be your best rates. But eventually, as you do this over time and you get used to it and you're at your best pricing, the scale shifts. It might be eventually that your better rate becomes your good rate, your best rate becomes your middle rate, and then you have a new best rate. So it's something that's fluid and continues to evolve as you continue to work with ideal clients. You get more comfortable with communicating value. Your clients recognize it. They are happy to pay your fees because they respect what you bring to the table. And this is where, this is about Susan. When I first started working with Susan, once again, she was working 7 days a week. She was working about 60 hours a week. She'd been thinking about raising her fees for, I believe, maybe 4 or 5 years before we started talking together. And she was scared. She wanted to do it because she was working so many hours. She was burning out, but she was so scared about what would happen because she didn't like confrontation. She didn't want to have pushback. And she didn't know how to communicate her value. Well, once again, when we started working, we figured out who her ideal client was. We packaged her services in the way that I showed you before. Actually, those 3 columns in the packages is exactly the same template that I used with her. And then we went ahead and value priced her services. Within about 4 weeks of us working together, somebody came to her for services. Instead of her doing what she normally would have done, she reached out to me. We had a conversation of what the value would be to this client, how to be able to explain it in order for them to recognize the value of the work that she would be doing for them. We put together the package options for her to present to this client. We priced it, and I told her what to focus on. Now, Susan told me if she would have been doing this on her own, she probably would have charged $1,500 for this particular project. But she was able to show them the value was $7,900, which when I told her that, she gulped at first. She was like, I can't do that. And then I talked her off the ledge. But she, even though she didn't have the confidence, she had the courage and the desire to make this happen and make this work. It didn't take confidence, it took courage to do it, even though she was fearful anyway. Like I said, it would have been a $1,500 project if she would have done it on her own. She gave them the options. they went for the $7,900 package. As a result of that, she earned $6,800 more, and they paid her in full before they did the job. I also said that Susan was originally working 7 days a week, about 60 hours a week. Well, she is now working about 4 days a week. She takes Fridays off. She's working 4 days a week, and she's averaging about 20 hours a week. Plus, she brought in an additional $56,000 of income this past year. And because she's an accounting professional, she tracked some of her numbers on an Excel spreadsheet. And if you look at cleanup number 1, which was the example I gave, she would have charged $1,500. She charged $7,900 for that particular cleanup project, made an additional $6,400 without any additional work. Like I said, they paid in full before she started working. She didn't have to track her time. She didn't have to chase them for money. It was all done before she started ever doing the cleanup job. And as you can see, she tracked a couple other numbers where some of her rates are about 3 times more, others are 4 times more. With client 1 and 2, she was able to show me that she was able to double and do 2.5 times more on one of them. Because that, like I said, she went from 7 days a week to 4. She went from 60 hours a week to 20, and she made an additional $56,000 in her business. And what would that mean for you if you were able to get some of those same numbers? This is the resource that I was talking about, is how to be able to sell more, boost your profitability, and grow your business. If you want that, this is the exact outline to get you started on packaging your prices, packaging your services, and pricing your services. All you need to do is go to businesssuccesssolution.com/package, and you'll get that free resource.
So let's look at how you convert existing clients, Lauren. And I think before we do that, we actually have one more chat question. So do you have an ideal client? Number 1 is I work with everyone. Number 2 is I serve several industries. And number 3 is I've defined my niche. So we're talking about your ideal client at this time. And I know that accounting professionals often want to raise their rates for months or years, just like you talked about with one of your other clients, before they do it. How do you successfully help them transition their clients to their new prices?
Right, because now you have the foundation about how to separate your fees from time and get started with the good, better, and best rates. You know how to do those packages where you have the diamond, the gold, and the silver options. And how do you now start to communicate this to your clients and raise your rates without losing them? Well, the very first thing you want to do is send them some type of letter, whether it's snail mail or email, whatever way you communicate with them, letting them know that you're making some changes to your business model. You want to make it about them, because remember, one of the things that they highly value is that client experience. You want to explain to them that you're looking to improve the client experience and that you want to be able to share that with them, what that means for them. So once again, send them an email or snail mail that you're going to be changing some things about your business model and that you want to be able to share those things with them. The next thing you want to do is, now that they have the letter, you want to take an opportunity to schedule a conversation with them. This is where you're having what I call a value conversation. It's not a pitch. This is a value conversation. You're taking time to focus on their challenges, how you can help them to achieve that result or solve that problem. And by connecting the dots of knowing what it is that they want to achieve and knowing that you have the resources and the tools and the know-how in place to be able to help them achieve that, they will see the value of continuing to move forward and working with you. This is a value conversation. It is not a sales pitch. Once again, when you're having this conversation with them, the value conversation, the things that you're asking questions about is their needs, their wants, and their desires. What are the needs? What are the essentials that need to be in place for them to be able to move forward, to remain operational, to be able to really do the necessities? in order to keep their business solvent. And then their wants are things that they would like to have in place. However, they know that they can't do it themselves. They need your support in order to be able to really move forward with that. Maybe their wants are in some ways more profitability. It might be that they want to grow their business. However, they need some data around cash flow, around forecasting, to be able to understand where they can plug up money leaks in order to be able to have the money to advance their business further and grow. Their desires are going to be future focused. A desire might be opening up another location. It could be like Devin going from her part-time assistant to now being a full-time assistant. It is something that is future focused. You want to absolutely know what that is. It is actually more important than the needs and the wants. If you can help them achieve that milestone, that is going to be really something that has deep meaning, high value, and they're going to want to continue to move forward with you. Now, when you are in this value conversation with your clients, realize that people don't like change. They've been working with you in a certain way for a long time. And why are you all of a sudden changing in this direction? Because of that, they might have some questions. They might want to understand why. Is this going to cost me more money? And you want to be prepared for those common objections, because nobody likes pushback. But if you are aware of what those common objections are, then you're going to be in a better place to really answer them with authority and confidence. Then let that be something that overwhelms you, that feels confrontational, and then you're shutting down the conversation. I would say know what your top 5 objections could be, and then have a response already prepared, and maybe even practice for it for when they do come up. They're going to be money. They're going to be time. They're going to be, maybe I need to talk to my partner. It could be also that I have other things already that I'm focusing on. I don't know if I have the room and capacity to do this. And maybe there's something else that is really unique to you and what it is that you're doing. But you want to think about those top 5, know how you want to respond to them, and that way you can respond to them with confidence instead of letting them unnerve you. And then the last thing is collect the money. I don't want you chasing money. Tracking time, invoicing clients, negotiating your fees, having to explain why this talk took so long are headaches. They waste your time. They're frustrating. They are costly for your practice. Because of that, you want to have the money conversation. Talk to them about the 3 packages available, how much the investment is for each one, and then which one do they want to invest in, and then also be able to accept the fees or the money at that time. Don't postpone it. Be prepared to take the money for moving forward. And that way you never, ever, ever have to negotiate your fees, have to track your hours, invoice, or wonder if you're going to be getting paid 30 days net. With Ingrid, when I first started working with her, she went from a home-based business into her brick and mortar office for the first time. She was a generalist working with a wide variety of clients. She believed in fair pricing and that an hourly rate was the only way to price her services fairly, so that no one person was paying any more than anybody else. I talked to her about value pricing, packaging her services. There was a lot of pushback on this because she was really wedded to pricing by the hour. And I was able to show her about how pricing by the hour wasn't really fair to her or her clients. It put her at opposite ends of the spectrum from her clients, and actually kept her from being on the team. It kept her as being seen as a cost instead of an investment. And then she actually went to a conference. She went to Scaling New Heights, where there were other people talking about value pricing. Once she was able to see that from somebody else, she came back. She's like, I'm all in. Let's get started. Well, we focused on her niche, which is working with entrepreneurs who specialize on adventure tourism. she focused on that. She had her packages. She became an industry expert. She had a system for helping them go from where they were to being highly profitable, including being able to deal with the ebbs and flows of the seasonality of their businesses. Because of the way she moved her business forward, she became one of the top 40 under 40 women in accounting, even though she is not an accountant. And she also was Intuit's Firm of the Future winner. This is possible for you too, because Ingrid started out just like everybody else, being a generalist, charging by the hour, and being scared to really move away from the billable hour. And now she is able to earn more. She cut away her clients, and she's done that iteration a couple times since then.
So Lauren, what we covered today, and I'm going to go through it kind of quickly because we need to wrap up, but I also want to get into the strategy session. The number one pricing solution, the formula, and how to convert existing clients. And Lauren, you shared so much, and now that people can get started. However, I know that there's probably some people that want to take us to the next level. So what do you recommend for our listeners that would like to talk with you further?
Well, if there is someone who really resonates with this, they have been thinking about raising their rates for a long time, but maybe you've been thinking about it for months or even years. You know that this is what you want to do, the direction you want to move in, but you don't necessarily know how. And because that you've postponed doing this, and now's the time, then you are absolutely the right person that we ought to be talking together. If you were someone that recognized that you are the best investment you can be making in your business, you want to be moving more into that advisory or consultative position as opposed to just focusing on the technical aspects, because you have so much to give and you've probably been giving so much of it away for free, then we ought to be having a conversation. If you know that this is your time, you feel that you are ready to advance your business, you have a lot of clients, but you are at capacity, you have what I call an upper limit problem, where you're not at your full earning potential and you know that you can earn more, but you don't have any more time to give. And because of that, it is affecting your income, then let's go ahead and set up a conversation together. I have put aside 5 complimentary Path to Profit strategy sessions. They do have a $500 value. However, I love having these conversations with people who are growth-minded, who see that they are the best investment that they can make in themselves. They are ready to really move forward and advance their business. They are tired of tolerating and not earning as much as they could. And they want to be able to bring high value and deeply serve their clients. So it's at businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. Once again, businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. Go ahead and let's get set up for a Path to Profit strategy session. If you know that you're ready to get this done, you've been thinking about it, and now you want to be able to put this into play, we roll up our sleeves, we get it done. It starts with a Path to Profit strategy session. I have 5 of them available. They have a $500 value, and I am happy to have these conversations. I'm not committed to us working together because I want to make sure from this conversation that this is a good fit for you as well as for me, but also you will walk away with insights that you wouldn't have had because you set this time aside for us to have a conversation together, regardless of whether we work together or not. Once again, Path to Profit strategy session at businesssuccesssolution.com/let's talk. My intention is to help you double your income while working half the time. Thank you so much. Lauren Fogelman.
Stephen Fogelman.
Showing accounting professionals how to double their income.
Working half the time. Bye-bye.
Take care.